How well you fill your sandbags and what you use to fill them will have a major impact on the performance of your Cobra bag. For platform paddles, the best option is to use wet sand. Mixing water with your sand will make your sand extra dense, and it will make your sandbags extra heavy and extra dense. And that's what you want with your platform paddles, to make sure you've got enough pressure on each of the paddles, keeping it down so that your mast is nice and rigid. Just make sure you use a plastic bag, a large garbage bag that will fit inside each of these sandbags. Put that in and then fill the sand. You can use some sort of cup to fill your sandbag. And as you do, push the sand to all the corners. Push it out towards the sides so that your sandbag is filled to absolute full capacity. That's what you want. Continue filling it as much as you can, making sure the sides are nice and full. So just keep pushing it to the sides as much as possible until there's no more room and you fill the top. So then all you do is just pull up your garbage bag, just push any air out of there and do a loose knot. Now if you're concerned about any spillage or rupture of the garbage bag, you can always use two of them. Once you've done that, just pull the flap over and Velcro it down, and that's it. I just weighed it and it weighs a whopping 30 kilograms or 66 pounds. That's a lot more. That's a lot more than just with sand, which weighs about 44 pounds. So that's a lot more weight, and most importantly, a lot more density to push down on those paddles or on the platform that you've got. With paddles, it's really important how you place the sandbags. Your first sandbag needs to come onto two of the paddles, so it needs to be pressing down on two of the paddles. And then the other one goes on the opposite side. And that's got to ensure that it's pressing right down. To stop the paddles from shifting off, use the Velcro straps and put them around the mast. It'll also make the mast that little bit firmer, that little bit more rigid. Do the same for both sandbags, and let me show you how effective this is. So this Cobra bag's been set up with wet sand bags, and check this out. Check how good the stability is. Does the trick. There's one more thing you can do to further enhance the performance of your Cobra bag. To further enhance the rigidity of the mast, you can use this Olympic weight plate sleeve and an Olympic weight plate. I recommend using a 44-pound Olympic weight plate to go on top. And it sits nicely on the sleeve and then pushes down on the sandbags. Now you still need the sandbags, but that gives your mast that extra superior rigidity. So when you start training, that's actually going to make even better. So your performance of your Cobra bag is going to be so much better with just that extra add-on. And one last tip regarding using sandbags with wet sand. Wet sand is going to give you the weight, it's going to give you the rigidity to push down on those paddles. So it's going to give your Cobra bag the best performance. But you do need to make sure that you line the sandbags with a garbage bag, a really good, thick, large garbage bag that's going to fill the space. I also recommend double bagging it, so you've got one garbage bag inside the other. And it's got to ensure that the sand and the moisture does not leak, especially if you're using it indoors on carpet like here. Go the next day after setting it up, just check it, make sure the sandbags are not wet anywhere. If they are, it means your garbage bag or both garbage bags have got a bit of a puncture in them. Hasn't happened to me, but it could happen. For your other platforms, like your DIY platforms made up of MDF boards or the Octabase, which is part of the O3 kit, You actually don't need to use wet sand, you can just use dry sand because these are really rigid in their own right. And the DIY base is made of MDF boards, are really heavy as they are. So wet sand is ideal for the paddles, makes the paddles work really well. For the others, you could just use dry sand. I still recommend double bagging it, or at least using a single garbage bag as a liner. Now, one more thing that I want to show you, and that is this water bag. So I'm starting to sell these water bags now. These are inexpensive, but extremely hardy. You could just about drive a car over one of these. I've seen it done. So I've designed these to have the capacity to fill one of these sandbags. Now, I've got one filled here, and these are great for your wooden bases, so DIY or Octobase. You can just put this bag, this one's filled with air, but you basically put it inside the bag and then fill it up with water. The easiest way to fill it up is using a hose outside. Filled with water, these bags weigh about 15 kilos or 33 pounds. So they're about half the weight of the bags that are filled with wet sand. If you do decide to use water bags with the Octobase, with your O3 kit, they will do the job. But if you want extra performance, you can always add on an Olympic sleeve and then a single Olympic weight plate. That's just going to strengthen it that little bit more and make your mast that little bit more rigid and give your Cobra bags that little extra performance. As you can see, that's pretty sturdy. The stability of your base and the rigidity of your mast will determine the performance of your Cobra bag. And the Kewlus Sandbags play a crucial role in the Kewlus Modular system.